Your expensive mattress is literally destroying your sleep quality. While you're tossing on memory foam, there's an ancient technique that eliminates back pain, improves circulation, and delivers deeper rest than any modern bed. But here's what's really shocking about this method. Your grandmother's old quilt probably cost her $20 and lasted 40 years. Meanwhile, you're sleeping on a $3,000 mattress that'll need replacing before your car does. Something's backwards here, right? Well, Native American tribes figured out sleep centuries before we started stuffing springs into boxes and calling it innovation. They didn't have memory foam, but they had something better. Actual memory. Knowledge passed down through generations about what really makes a good night's rest. These weren't primitive sleeping arrangements either. We're talking about carefully engineered bedding systems that would make your fancy mattress company jealous. Tribes like the Lakota and Cherokee crafted their sleeping surfaces from buffalo hides, soft grasses, and specially prepared earth. Each material had a job to do. Buffalo hides weren't just randomly thrown on the ground like some camping trip gone wrong. They were meticulously treated, softened, and layered to create what we'd recognize today as a multi-zone comfort system. The hide provided insulation and durability while maintaining flexibility. Think of it as the original adjustable firmness, except it actually worked. Then there's the grass layer. Sounds uncomfortable? That's because you've never slept on properly prepared prairie grass. Certain types, when dried and bundled correctly, created a springy foundation that distributed weight more evenly than most modern mattresses. The Cheyenne were particularly skilled at this, selecting specific grass varieties that maintained their structure season after season. But here's where it gets interesting, and where modern science starts catching up to ancient wisdom. Studies show that natural materials like these actually outperform synthetic ones when it comes to moisture wicking, your expensive mattress traps, heat, and humidity. Their grass and hide combo breathed like a living system. Some tribes took it even further, incorporating aromatic leaves and herbs that had natural antibacterial properties. Cedar bark, sage, and sweetgrass weren't just for ceremonies. They kept the sleeping area clean and pest-free. Your mattress probably has more chemicals than a science lab, and it still can't match what they accomplished with plants. The Ojibwe were masters at this, creating bedding that stayed fresh for months without washing. They understood something we forgot. Materials matter, but so does how you use them. And the crazy part? These sleeping systems were completely customizable. Too firm? Add more grass. Getting cold? Layer another hide. Need better drainage during the rainy season? Adjust the foundation. But the real secret wasn't just in the materials they chose. It was in how they positioned everything relative to the ground itself. That's where the magic really happened. Your grandmother probably told you to stand up straight, but she never mentioned how sleeping closer to the ground could save your spine. Well, turns out Native Americans figured this out centuries before chiropractors started charging $200 per visit. Here's what's fascinating about ground-level sleeping. When you're down there, your spine naturally finds its proper curve. No fancy memory foam required. The firm earth surface doesn't let your hips sink too deep, or your shoulders create weird pressure points that leave you waking up like a pretzel. Modern beds? They're like that overly helpful friend who tries too hard. All those springs and layers actually work against your body's natural alignment. Makes sense, right? Your spine evolved over millions of years, but somehow we think a mattress designed in the last 50 years knows better. But here's where it gets interesting. That slight natural contour of the earth acts like today's expensive ergonomic designs, except it cost exactly $0. Native Americans were sleeping on the original adjustable surface, one that responded to body weight without all the mechanical complexity. Then there's the grounding effect. Now, before you roll your eyes thinking this sounds too woo-woo, consider this. Many tribal communities reported significantly fewer joint pain issues compared to settlers who brought their elevated European-style beds. Coincidence? Probably not. The height factor alone is worth mentioning. Ever watch an elderly person struggle to get out of a tall modern bed? It's like watching someone try to dismount a horse every morning. Ground sleeping eliminates that whole production. You just get up. Revolutionary concept, apparently. Research actually backs this up. Studies show that raised beds increase the tendency for poor sleep posture by 30%. Your body naturally tries to find stability, and when you're floating on a squishy surface 3 feet off the ground, good luck with that. Native communities understood something we've forgotten. Your body works best when it's connected to something solid and stable, not bouncing around on coils and foam like you're sleeping on a trampoline designed by committee. And the weird part is, this wasn't some ancient wisdom passed down through mystical ceremonies. It was pure practicality. The materials were free, the setup took minutes, and the results spoke for themselves. No delivery trucks, no assembly instructions, no warranty cards to lose. But the real genius wasn't just in the ground contact, it was in what they put between their bodies and that earth that made all the difference. Your grandpa probably slept better on his army cot than you do on your $5,000 memory foam throne. And here's why that makes perfect sense. Earth doesn't play favorites with temperature. It stays remarkably stable year-round, sitting at around 55 degrees, just a few feet underground. Native Americans figured this out centuries before we started paying electric bills that could feed a small village. They slept close to this natural thermostat. Not on it, mind you. They weren't masochists, but close enough to benefit from Earth's incredible temperature-regulating properties. Think of it as nature's version of those fancy climate-controlled mattresses that cost more than your first car. Buffalo hides and deer skins weren't just thrown down randomly either. These materials breathe like your skin wishes it could. Unlike synthetic fabrics that trap heat like a sauna nobody asked for, animal hides actually move air around your body. They keep you warm when it's cold and cool when it's hot. But here's where it gets interesting and slightly embarrassing for our modern sleeping habits. Studies show that maintaining consistent sleeping temperature improves sleep quality by 64%. 64. That's better results than most people get from their prescription sleep aids and white noise machines combined. Native communities rarely complained about night sweats or those 3 a.m. wake-ups where you're simultaneously too hot under the covers and too cold without them. You know the ones. We've all done that awkward leg out of the blanket dance trying to find the perfect temperature. Grass bedding adds another layer of genius to this system. Those dried prairie grasses work like tiny air conditioners, creating microscopic channels that let heat escape when you're warm and trap it when you're cool. Meanwhile, your expensive mattress is probably holding on to every degree of body heat like a jealous ex. The real kicker? This system works without electricity, monthly payments, or warranty calls. No climate control bills that make you question your life choices every month. Traditional sleeping materials actually wick moisture away from your body faster than most modern synthetic fabrics. They learned this through trial and error over thousands of years, while we're still trying to figure out why our high-tech pajamas leave us feeling like we ran a marathon in our sleep. Native Americans essentially created the world's first smart sleeping system, one that automatically adjusts to keep you comfortable all night long. Now, before you start thinking Earth-based temperature control sounds too simple to work, wait until you discover how they used strategic airflow to solve problems that still plague modern bedrooms today. Your grandmother probably told you to close the windows at night. Well, she never slept like a Lakota warrior. Native Americans figured out something that took sleep scientists decades to discover. The air you breathe while sleeping matters more than the thread count on your sheets. They positioned their sleeping spots to catch natural breezes, turning Mother Nature into the world's first air purification system. Here's what's brilliant about sleeping close to the ground. Hot air rises, right? That means all the stale, stuffy air in your bedroom is floating around at mattress level like invisible soup. But down low, that's where the fresh, cool air settles. It's like having a natural air conditioner that never breaks down or sends you a ridiculous electric bill. Then there's the allergen situation. Your fancy pillow-top mattress is basically a high-rise hotel for dust mites. The higher you sleep, the more you're breathing in all that floating nastiness. Pollen, pet dander, whatever your neighbor's cooking, it's all up there having a party in your lungs. Native Americans slept where the air moved. They'd pick spots near water where evening breezes naturally flowed. Smart? You bet. These folks understood that stagnant air leads to stuffy noses and restless nights. Moving air meant cleaner breathing and deeper sleep. But wait, it gets better. Fresh air doesn't just help you breathe easier, it supercharges your recovery. When your muscles get proper oxygen all night long, they repair faster. Athletes are finally catching on to this. Ever wonder why camping trips leave you feeling so refreshed, even sleeping on the hard ground? The real game changer was sleeping under the stars. No ceiling, no walls trapping yesterday's air. Just pure, unlimited oxygen flowing over you like a gentle river. Modern sleep clinics charge hundreds of dollars for oxygen therapy that can't compete with what nature provides for free. And here's something your sleep doctor won't tell you. Improved airflow during sleep can reduce snoring and sleep apnea symptoms dramatically. Native Americans rarely dealt with these issues, not because of genetics, but because of how and where they slept. Makes sense when you think about it. Your body spends 8 hours rebuilding itself every night. Why would you want to do that breathing recycled air from a sealed box? Speaking of breathing better, the materials they chose for their bedding weren't just comfortable. They were practically pharmaceutical grade. Native Americans didn't just throw down a buffalo hide and call it good. They understood something our modern world seems to have forgotten. Comfort isn't one size fits all, especially when Mother Nature keeps changing the thermostat. When winter hit the Great Plains, tribes would double or triple their hide layers. The bottom layer stayed thick and weatherproof, while softer inner hides created pockets of warm air. Think of it like nature's own adjustable bed, except it actually worked without needing a remote control that inevitably gets lost between cushions. But here's where it gets clever. Summer brought the opposite approach. Those heavy winter hides got rolled up and stored away. Instead, they'd use single layers of softer, more breathable materials. Woven grass mats became popular in warmer months because they allowed air to circulate underneath while still providing cushioning. The Inuit took seasonal adaptation to another level entirely. During harsh Arctic winters, they'd create sleeping platforms inside their shelters using blocks of snow covered with multiple caribou hides. The snow actually insulated from the ground's freezing temperatures, while the layered hides trapped body heat. Sounds crazy? Well, these folks survived temperatures that would make your winter heating bill look like pocket change. Then there's the moisture factor. Spring meant dealing with ground dampness from melting snow and rain. Many tribes would elevate their sleeping areas slightly using wooden platforms or thick bundles of dried reeds. This kept them off wet ground while maintaining that beneficial connection to Earth's natural temperature regulation. Summer positioning focused on catching breezes. Sleeping areas moved to higher ground or near water sources where cool air flowed naturally. No electric fans needed, just smart placement that worked with wind patterns instead of against them. A fascinating study of elderly tribal members found that those who maintained seasonal sleeping adjustments reported 30% fewer joint pain complaints compared to those using static modern beds year-round. Makes sense when you think about it. Your body's needs change with temperature and humidity. So why shouldn't your sleeping surface adapt too? The real genius wasn't just in the materials themselves, but in reading environmental cues. Tribes knew when storms approached by changes in air pressure and humidity. They'd adjust bedding thickness and shelter positioning accordingly, staying comfortable while city dwellers today still get surprised by weather forecasts. This seasonal flexibility created something modern sleep technology struggles to achieve. Truly responsive comfort that anticipated your body's needs rather than just reacting to them. However, seasonal smarts meant nothing without understanding the sophisticated layering systems that made these beds so remarkably effective. The genius wasn't just in what Native Americans slept on, it was how they engineered those materials to work like a perfectly tuned machine. Animal hides formed the foundation, but not just any hides. These were carefully processed through smoking, which did 3 brilliant things at once. First, it prevented rot better than any chemical treatment we use today. Second, bugs absolutely hated the smoky smell and stayed far away. Third, the smoking process kept the hide soft and flexible while adding serious insulation properties. But here's where it gets really clever. Between those treated hides, tribes would layer grass, cattail fiber, or dried reeds. These weren't randomly thrown together like some prehistoric Pinterest project. Each fiber layer acted as a natural shock absorber, cushioning pressure points while your body weight naturally compressed them into the perfect sleeping surface. The moisture regulation was pure engineering brilliance. Cattail fibers could absorb sweat and humidity during the night, then release it during the day when the bedding aired out. Meanwhile, the outer hide layer stayed waterproof, protecting everything underneath from ground moisture or unexpected rain. Then there's the pest control system that would make modern exterminators jealous. Aromatic plants like sage, cedar, or sweetgrass were woven directly into the sleeping materials, not sprinkled on top like some fancy hotel pillow spray. actually built into the structure. These plants naturally repelled insects while releasing calming scents that helped with relaxation. Well, modern science has finally caught up to what tribes knew centuries ago. Those aromatic compounds in sage and cedar, they contain natural antimicrobial properties that rival today's expensive treated fabrics. The layered fiber system, it works exactly like modern memory foam, conforming to body shape while providing support. Every single sleeping surface was custom built by hand. No assembly required, no warranty cards, no, "This product contains chemicals known to the state of California," warnings. Just practical engineering that blended hygiene, comfort, and survival into one incredibly effective system. The really impressive part? Each family could completely customize their bedding based on personal preferences, seasonal needs, and available materials. Heavier person? Add more cattail layers. Cold sleeper? Extra hide layers on top. Sensitive to certain plants? Swap in different aromatics. This wasn't just sleeping gear, it was a complete sleep technology system that adapted to individual needs better than most modern mattresses, costing thousands of dollars. But the bedding was only half the equation. The other half involved something most of us completely ignore when setting up our bedrooms. You know how your grandmother always said sitting by the fire was the best medicine? Well, Native American tribes took that wisdom and turned it into a complete sleep system that puts modern climate control to shame. Fire wasn't just about staying warm, it was the cornerstone of an entire sleeping microclimate that would make your smart thermostat jealous. These weren't random campfires either. Every flame was strategically placed to create the perfect sleeping environment. Here's where it gets brilliant. Tribes would dig shallow pits and fill them with stones heated by fire throughout the evening. Then they'd cover these hot stones with a thin layer of soil, creating what was essentially radiant floor heating. Except they invented it thousands of years before we did. The stones would release gentle, consistent warmth all night long, keeping the ground at the perfect sleeping temperature. But wait, it gets better. Plains and Arctic tribes developed sophisticated smoke channels that directed heat exactly where they needed it, while simultaneously keeping mosquitoes and other pests at bay. Talk about killing two birds with one stone. Your expensive bug spray has nothing on strategic smoke placement. And here's something your modern heated blanket can't do. Tribes created portable heaters by wrapping hot embers or coals in bark. These natural heat packs could be moved around the sleeping area or even brought inside shelters. No electric bill required. Then there's the ash trick that most people never think about. The ash from these fires wasn't waste, it was a multi-purpose tool. Scattered around the sleeping area, ash absorbed moisture from damp bedding faster than any modern dehumidifier. Plus, it created a natural barrier that small animals wouldn't cross. Ever try convincing a mouse to stay away from your bedroom? Ash beats any expensive pest control service. The real genius was in fuel efficiency. These fire systems provided maximum comfort with minimal wood consumption. While you're cranking up your thermostat and watching your energy bill skyrocket, Native Americans perfected the art of all-night warmth using just the right amount of carefully managed heat. This wasn't just practical engineering, it was environmental mastery that kept entire families comfortable through brutal winters without wasting resources. But even the most perfect sleeping temperature won't help if your mind is racing at bedtime. That's where the tribes developed something that makes modern sleep aids look primitive. Ever wonder why your grandfather could fall asleep anywhere while you're tossing and turning on a mattress that cost more than his first car? Well, Native American tribes had figured out something we're just rediscovering. Sleep isn't just about where you lie down, it's about how you prepare your mind and body for rest. Before anyone even thought about hitting the hay, tribes had entire evening rituals that would make modern sleep specialists jealous. They weren't scrolling through phones or binge-watching shows. Instead, they'd brew teas from valerian root, chamomile, and wild mint that worked better than any over-the-counter sleep aid you'll find at the pharmacy. But here's where it gets interesting. These weren't just random plants they picked because they tasted good. Tribal healers understood that valerian root contains compounds that naturally calm the nervous system. Chamomile has apigenin, which binds to brain receptors and reduces anxiety. Modern pharmaceutical companies spend millions trying to recreate what these communities perfected centuries ago. The ritual didn't stop at tea time, though. Soft chanting and gentle rhythmic movements helped sync the body's natural rhythms. Think of it as the original meditation app, except it actually worked without requiring a monthly subscription. The drumming wasn't just for show. Research now proves that rhythmic sounds can lower cortisol levels and trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. And here's the kicker: tribal healers viewed sleep as medicine itself. Not just rest, but actual healing time when the spirit rebalanced and the body repaired itself. They treated bedtime with the same respect doctors give to surgery. No rushing, no distractions, just pure focus on restoration. Compare that to our modern approach where we treat sleep like an inconvenience. We slam energy drinks all day, stare at blue screens until midnight, then wonder why we need white noise machines and blackout curtains to get decent rest. The breathing techniques they used are now being studied by sleep clinics worldwide. Slow, deep breathing patterns that naturally lower heart rate and blood pressure. Your great-grandmother probably knew these tricks instinctively, but the most fascinating part? These communities rarely dealt with chronic insomnia or sleep disorders that plague millions today. Their approach treated sleep as a sacred practice, not just something that happened when exhaustion finally won. The difference between their method and popping melatonin pills is like comparing a home-cooked meal to fast food. Both might fill you up, but only one actually nourishes your body for the long haul.